Hey NAI football fans, Cory Thorpe here with another edition of the NAIFBALL Podcast, powered by AdCraft USA, your custom apparel, merch, and uniform experts. Our friends at AdCraft have been with us for many years now. They've run web stores for us multiple times. These guys are NAI fans and family who are experts in the apparel and merchandise world. AdCraft allows you to take the hassle out of ordering. Let their knowledgeable design and customer service staff handle everything from hosting the store online, shipping the product, and helping your customers so you can get back to the game. Find them online at adcraftusa.com. All right, NAI football fans, this is Cory Thorpe, and we are officially in the off season. And well, this is going to be coming out a couple days after Christmas, so we hope that you had a very Merry Christmas and are looking forward to a great new year. This is a great new year for podcasts for us. You can see we're utilizing the full studio this year for our podcasts, and we'd like to welcome to the studio our first guest of the year, Arizona Christian head coach Jeff Bowen. Coach, how you doing this afternoon, evening, wherever it is where you are?
Doing well, and it's evening.
I can never tell with Arizona time where it exactly is in comparison to us. It depends on the time of year.
Well,
But
that's the beauty of us. We never change.
I know it's everyone else that has the problem.
Yep.
Oh well, we'll see one of these days. I know that our folks here in Florida, our Senator Marco Rubio has introduced bills time and again trying to get everybody put on daylight savings time, which would probably put you on Alaskan time for like half the year for the entire year or something silly like that. But let's get away from time and let's talk about some football. Y'all had a really nice season a year ago. It sounds really weird to say that, it being last week was the championship game, but it didn't particularly start out that way with a loss to Tex West. Now, obviously, Tex West is was a whale of a team last year. One thing I do want to ask about is why is Louisiana Christian so gosh darn tough?
It's a hard place to play. Just the travel logistics alone, you got to fly in, then you're bussing several hours to get to them. There's just little things about it that make it tough. Your halftime locker room is a tent and a outhouse behind the visitors bench, and it's just and that on top of the fact that they're a tough out. I would be very leery of them next year. They got a boatload of people coming back, and they get after it, and they just play really well at home. It is what it is.
I mean, you talk about that. I would have figured that everyone would have kind of had them circled as a don't even dare think about overlooking LC after what they did to Langston in 2021. But by George, they were inconsistent. But boy, when they had a Sooner Conference win, boy, did they ever have a Sooner Conference win.
Yeah, that was tough. I mean, we got down early with some things that happened, and we battled back. We were within a touchdown late, and we're driving for the go-ahead score, and we turned the ball over. So it doesn't help to turn the ball over 4 times against a good opponent.
Yeah, that is a true statement. Now, on your schedule is Fort Lewis College, and I know ACU is definitely want to pick up opponents, and a lot of times they're from other leagues that are not the NAIA. Now, we've just seen Kaiser go to the national championship game and be the national runners up while going through a gauntlet of a schedule in which, looking back, hindsight's definitely 2020, but I don't think they were properly rated or ranked going into the playoffs. Talk to me about your thoughts on properly weighting out of league games.
It's so hard because we're so spread out all over the country. The leagues really don't cross over. It's hard to get anyone to even come to Arizona to play us. They'll let us travel to them, but they're not going to come to see us. So it's just tough to find games, and then you get into who you're going to play. You step up top tier Division II, or take a one. We did the one. The 1AA or FCS, basically. We did that. We traveled to Abilene one year and played Abilene Christian. But
Oof.
I think you got to be real careful too. I mean, Kaiser's outstanding. Doug does a great job there, and they're the first three games that they played were obviously extremely tough opponents. It may have helped them as a team in the long run to develop some cohesion and stuff, but the bottom line is you're 0-3, and were they properly ranked? No. I mean, they lost. The only NAIA game they lost all year was in the championship, so that makes it tough. But you don't want to, money games and stuff like that, go play an FCS team and collect a check, and then they hang a 98-0 on you, and that's not going to help your team in the long run. I don't care what anyone says. Oh, it's a step up and you get the check. No, that's going to leave a scar on your football team.
Yeah, and I hate to say it, I'm always rooting for, no matter the level, I'm always waiting for someone to drop that triple-digit score. I just hate when when it's NAI and it's that close like that. You don't want to be there. I want the NAI team to be the one winning 98-0.
That would be great. I would take that. But I think it's hard to equate it in, to the record, or maybe they don't count the FCS games, or I don't know what the answer is, but it's hard you're not going to get a fair comparison if you're going to include those in the situation. As much as the Raider, and I was a Raider for the Sooner Athletic Conference, you can sit around and talk, well, they lost this game to a FCS team or a top tier Division II team and stuff like that. By the end of the year, people are just looking at records and trying to do the best job that they can do representing their conference and the integrity of the tournament.
That's not wrong. I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, it's so hard to remember what happened in late August, early September, and even more so than that. You've heard the saying that you never step in the same river twice. You never rank the same team twice, because you've got injuries, you've got dings that you pick up. You're not the same team. You've grown together. You've knitted together from September to November. It's a different team.
Oh, we went through that ourselves. The ACU team that was 1-2 and 0-2 in league to start the season, it was not the same as the team that played late in the year. I mean, we didn't make a big deal of it, but we lost 9 guys coming up before we even got out of camp. It was crazy, the injuries that we ran into before we even played game 1. So we were a work in progress early on in the season, and just took some time to settle in, and we started playing some pretty good football. But yeah, it's hard to equate, week 1 to week 10, and that brings up the other thing. And if you're having a playoff system where you're picking teams to go into the playoffs, you can't afford to lose late. Don't lose late, especially if you're a bubble team.
You ain't kidding. Now, it does seem, looking at your schedule, that something may have clicked there at that late September matchup at Sagu and Waxahachie, because at that point you're 1-2 coming into that game, and it looks like maybe your kids figured out, hey, we can hang on to this, and we can come out and win. It don't matter how big or how small. We can actually get on the right side of this.
At that point in time, our key leaders and stuff really stepped up as far as what we were doing from a mental approach at practice. The coaching staff, we took a deep look in what we're doing, and okay, this is what we normally do, but we're missing 9 pieces. And so how are we going to get this going in the right direction? We weren't thinking conference championships and playoffs or anything. We just knew we had another road game into Dallas against a good Sagu football team, and that showed by the end of the year. and our guys just put it together and played well and won that, and then we just had some confidence. The leadership stepped up, and let's just take this a game at a time and see what happens. And Sagu got it going, and then we came home against the seventh ranked team in the country with Ottawa, and obviously they're in our backyard and got that natural rivalry going, and to win that game was huge. Our guys does really flip the switch, and now you're looking at building some confidence, and that's kind of what happened.
It definitely is, winning 7 in a row down the stretch there, and you feel almost somewhat prepared to go into Morningside knowing that Dolanchek may not play. He might not be 100% if he does play. And y'all put up a whale of a fight there to stay in the ring with Morningside for all 4 quarters.
That was, no coach believes in moral victories, but the fact that we drew them in the first round, obviously, that's formidable, and people have seen what they do. I mean, they're not in football games in the fourth quarter very often. And there were all kinds of, predictions and 70-0 and those kind of things, and well deserved. I mean, they are who they are. They've won 3 out of 5, so no one was expecting anything different. But I also think a little bit of that was, the Sooner Conference has gotten a lot better over the last 5 years, and we felt like we could go in there and play well. And if someone had said, "Hey, you're within 3 points with 9 minutes to go against Morningside," I'd take it. We got a shot. We're in the game, and the first quarter they punched us in the mouth. Our guys were like, "Okay, this is different," but to their credit, settled in and played well and made a game of it, and so it's something to build on. We're not there yet. We're getting close, but it's definitely something to build on, and we're excited about that.
So I'm going to give you a magic wand, and with this magic wand, you can rewrite the rules in the Sooner and eventually in the Frontier to figure out how a team gets in the playoffs when you've got 3-4 teams that are right there. How is Jeff Bowen rewriting the rules?
I think as the NAI continues to grow, I think that what you look at is, and because there's not a lot of cross-sectional games, especially with teams traveling to Florida or traveling to Arizona or, Eastern Oregon and Southern Oregon, I think you win your conference, you need to be guaranteed a spot. I think putting the criteria of you have to be in the top 20, that forces people to maybe look at their ballots and say, well, I got to slide this one up because if they don't, then they could win it, but they might not. Or who do we have that we need to get close to the top 20 because they could end up winning the league, and it throws in all those dynamics. I think if you just the league champ automatically goes, then that should be that'd be one way. And I think I'm all, and I know there's talk of it expanding the tournament. And I'm not saying it's bad now, but when you got 4 at-large bids for the whole country, there are teams that are 9-1, 8-2. What other sport, and no knock on any other sports, but what other sport can you win 80% of your game and you're done? 80% of your games and you're done. You have no shot at the playoffs. We're not talking about, I win 80% of my games, I could get a home playoff game. You're just done.
Yeah, you're done. You're done. So you're staying home. That's a fair point, and that brings up an interesting thing. We've always thought there was some politicking, I'll call it, going on with the voting. We saw it this year with Dickinson State. We saw Dickinson State re-enter the chat at the end of the season there, and we said it. We called it out and said, look, the voters are positioning them such that they can be in the top 20. Never had that confirmed that that's it. I don't know if it's intentional or subconscious, but you definitely do see it happening, and I think that's a valid point. That maybe if we guarantee it. I've also heard people say slide the standard up a little bit, maybe make it top 15, and so maybe make it a little bit harder for those top teams to get in there and see if the at-larges can get in there. It's always an interesting dynamic. You talked about something there, and I'm going to get to it in a bit with the Frontier. But let's talk about your team. You've got Tyler Duncan coming back. Your signal caller, your 74th year starter there at Arizona Christian. 1,744 yards through the air, 490 on the ground. Doesn't turn the ball over terribly much with 7 interceptions as compared to 21 touchdowns. Talk about your offense and what you've got coming back starting under center.
Well, Tyler, he's the straw that stirs the drink. And he's been doing it since his freshman year. I mean, his first time stepping on the field was against Abilene Christian as a freshman.
It's trial by fire.
And to go through the things Tyler's gone through, so that was a tough season. Then his sophomore year, he's got the collarbone injury and misses most of the season, and came back and played really well last year. And obviously, he led us this year. He just does a lot of things well, and I think the two things that I like the most about Tyler is his unwillingness to accept anything except competing at the highest level when he's on the field. He's gonna go hard, whether he's running the ball, throwing the ball, making plays, whatever. And then his willingness to be on the same page as the coaching staff and really being a student of the game. I think it's not as measurables. He's 6 foot tall. He's not a 6'4". He has a good arm. He doesn't have the rocket 60 yards in the air type of arm. But I'll hand him the keys to the car anytime. He does a heck of a job.
A reminder, we are on with Arizona Christian head coach Jeff Bowen. Coach, you do lose a couple pieces, looks like, on your defense here. You had noted that you had 9 pieces that you had lost coming into the season to injury. Here's to hoping that some of those 9 pieces are A, coming back, and B, that some of them are on defense.
The defense really settled in as the year went on. They did a really good job, holding things down. We obviously lose Riley Tucker for my money. He's one of the best safeties in the country. I mean, he's done it for 4 years straight. I thought he was deserving of being an All-American somewhere this year, and being one of the top interceptors again in the country. We lose him. We lose Jake Farrell as a rush end. And then those are and then Stephon Tank Peters. We'll see if we get him back or not. But and other than that, everyone's back, or guys that split a lot of time, or we played 2 guys in a position. So the depth there, we feel pretty good about. We're obviously looking to add pieces and so forth, but I thought they settled down, and a lot of young kids got on the field this year too. We had some young guys playing in the secondary and different linebacker spots, new to the program and stuff. So they really settled in and played well down the stretch in must-win situations.
Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to circle back to something you had said previously and made reference to. We both made reference to it in point of fact, and that's the fact that Arizona Christian is going to be boldly going and pushing the final frontier here in a bit, going to the frontier and going against some Pacific Northwest heavyweights, whether it be NAI Royalty, Carroll, or Eastern Oregon, or Southern Oregon. That's daggum on the Pacific Coast. Talk to me about moving on up to the Frontier and what you're looking forward to there.
Well, we're really excited about the move. Like you said, there's a lot of history in the Frontier Conference. We enjoyed our time in the Sooner. Made a lot of friends. Really competitive, and but we're excited about this move into a really competitive top to bottom. You see it every year, and also just expanding football to the West. Being in a conference that is Northwest and being that in that direction for us was important because, as you see, the Sooner conference is obviously more of a Texas based and heading to the east with teams that are possibly coming in and stuff. So, and just being in a league where we're excited about just the fact that they're excited to have us in the league. That's kind of fun and competitive. I've talked with several of the coaches already, and we're excited about the challenge. Obviously, it's a big challenge. They're well respected football conference, and so we're going to work real hard to get ready to play at that level.
Now, you may not know the answer to this question, but is that where newcomer Simpson is going to be trying to get into from Northern California? It's the only place that I can think of that makes sense for Simpson up there in Northern Cal.
I know I don't know all the details. I know that they are talking with the higher ups within the Frontier Conference, and I hope that's the way they go. I hope they go NAIA instead of Division III, and it would give another team a shot in the Frontier. And I think what that's going to also expose in the Frontier is the level of quality play, because what they've been forced to do the last, I don't even know how many years, is you're playing people twice in a season. Well, when you're doing that, you're cannibalizing yourself. I mean, you're just beating each other up, and hopefully someone's standing at the end and gets into the tournament. So that's going to change, and that's got to help the conference also. So us coming in helps in that regard. And if Simpson does come in, that also negates having to play another doubled up opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think honestly, it's the reason why the Frontier hasn't featured as heavily in championship matchups and late in the playoffs for quite a long time. I mean, it hasn't been that long since Charlie Hall and Southern Oregon were hoisting the trophy. Where Carroll was winning one. I mean, that's a long and storied history in Frontier football.
Yeah, I didn't do the research, but I was told that maybe it's 20. Now it would be 21 because this season's over, but 10 out of the last 20 seasons before this, there was a team from the Frontier in the championship game, and obviously Carroll is well respected, winning 6 in their history, and so in Southern Oregon also. So they were there 10 times and they won it 7 out of the 10. So I think there's quality football all across the NAIA, and the Frontier has to be mentioned when you're talking about conferences that have a rich history of quality football.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are looking forward to that. The only downside is I think you might have to give up on that backyard brawl against Ottawa, unfortunately, unless y'all can work something out there.
Well, that's what we're trying to do right now with the scheduling and stuff, and then the Sooners making changes with teams possibly coming into that, and so hopefully in the future we can continue to play the rivalry game and stuff. Not sure about this first year, but hopefully something falls into place and we keep playing.
Yeah, that's way too fun of a game to give up on for a conference move. So thinking about it and trying to think of a question I can ask everybody the same question and kind of get a kind of a survey across the NAIA where everyone is. If you're not improving, you're falling behind. We understand how that works. We're on a treadmill here, going the wrong direction. What area of your team, whether it be on the field or off the field, are you looking forward most to improving in this off season going into 2023's season?
I think it's similar to what you're seeing now across college football in general. And it's always a trickle down effect, because what's going on at the Division I level with transfers and portals and recruiting, it trickles all the way down to us. I mean, kids going in the portal and then sitting there for a year, and basically the portals become the shopping ground for Division I. And so then what happens? Well, are they going to take a high school kid, or are they going to take a portal kid? Or for us, we're recruiting a kid that is on the borderline of being Division I. Well, is he going to come to us in the spring, or is he going to come in the fall, or is he not going to come at all? There's so much wait and see now for incoming high school freshmen, and then also transfers. And then also just the harsh reality or misconception of, I'll go to an NAIA school and I'll put some good film together, and then maybe I can be Division I. You're dealing with those type of parameters now, and with the advent of the portal and social media as it is with young people today, I don't think that's a problem that's going to be solved anytime soon.
Yeah, I saw a statistic. It was something like 1,000 of the 13,000 NCAA football players had put their name in the portal, and I'm just going to tell you, that's kind of unsustainable. I mean, it'll. I honestly think long term it'll settle in once we get there. But it's crazy stuff right now. So, Coach, thank you.
Yeah, it's rough. It is, and the thing is, now, are you building cultures that are sustainable,
Mm-hmm.
or are you just living year to year trying to hopefully have a roster that can be competitive?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you do look at some like at what Mike Norvell's done at Florida State, and being able to pull some serious portal guys out and hit on them consistently. But you sometimes it feels like you are rolling the dice on that a little bit. To borrow, I believe it was Dennis Green talking. Are they who we thought they were? Um, so that's always the question, and one that we'll see what happens as the portal kind of matures as a feature of the NCAA. A reminder to everyone out there: there is no NAIA portal. So keep that in mind, and pick the school that's right for you. And better yet, get it right the first time. Um, I'm sure, Coach, you would rather, have the more solid decision and the commitment of the 4 years.
I'm not looking to go anywhere, so I'd like them if they stuck around with me for a while.
It would be nice. Well, you are the only coach Arizona Christian has ever known going into your 8th season, so I don't know that you're going in anywhere at this point. So, Coach, thank you for coming on to the program, and looking forward to seeing what both the Sooner and Frontier have to feature in 2023 as the landscape changes a little bit in the NAIA, and looking forward to what the Firestorm have coming up in 23.
We look forward to it, and thanks for having me on.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the NAIAFBALL Podcast presented by AdCraft USA. Be sure to contact them for all your custom apparel, merch, and uniform needs. Thanks also to Leading Edge Fundraising for their support of the podcast. If you enjoy the show, subscribe to the podcast as well as to our YouTube channel. Leave us a review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts. As always, if you'd like to support what we do, head over to patreon.com/NAIAFBALL and become a patron. We can't do what we do without our sponsors and listeners like you.